Welcome back, everybody. This is, of course, your host, Jonathan Russell, here at the Orphan Movie vlog at theorphanmovie.com. We are on episode 11. Believe it or not, that one was 10 that came before this, and this is the follow-up to it. This is episode 11. What we were talking about before was my adventures in ghost hunting, if you will. And if you haven't seen that yet, go back one. Stop now. Go back one. Go to episode 10. Go to the previous one, because you're going to be kind of lost if you don't. Then this is not going to make a whole lot of sense to you. But if you go back to that one, it'll give you caught up, and then pick up with this one again. Okay, so last time what I was saying is that I had been out in the field using my trusty little ghost hunting app, and I've been getting some odd things that I thought were possibly bogus, possibly real. I didn't know. The one that had kind of given me pause, though, was the fact that it was actually giving me my name. And I mean, it's, Jonathan's not a terribly common name. It's not a terribly rare name, so who knows, really. Anyways, once we finished up at the cemetery, we went back into town, and we all gathered there at the Smokestack. That was, I don't know if I mentioned before or not, the Smokestack was actually part of the electrical power plant that powered Thurber. And Thurber was actually one of the first fully electrified towns in Texas. Bit of trivia for you. Anyways, we gathered there, and we split into two groups, and one of the groups, which I was in, went back across the freeway to the historical park, which is where the miner's house, the church, and the caboose was at. Earlier on, I had been told by one of the organizers that there was something in the caboose that nobody knew exactly what it was, but something was there, and they were going to be doing some investigating. She pulled aside one of the women that was with us and gave her, I think it was a digital recorder and something else, and sent her over there by herself. She told me what she was doing is she was sending women over there alone, because the entity that supposedly is in the caboose will only affect women. She said that she had had her hair pulled there, that her daughter had been in there at one point in time and had been touched. And she'd actually heard of a couple of other women that had been in there and been groped. I don't know. Anyways, we went over to the church and stood up at the steps, and we were going to be doing our investigation there. Oh, backtrack, actually. Back in the cemetery, what made me think about this is she has this device, I think it's called an ovulus. What it is it supposedly is a thing that will allow spirits to speak through it. I think the way it works is it scans the FM band of the radio at a speed that you can't really pick anything up other than just static and little bits and pieces of words. But supposedly it covers enough of a bandwidth that it will pick up spirit voices. One of the places we were at in the cemetery was a mass grave. There was I don't know what it was. It was probably 15 by 30 foot area, maybe not quite that big. It was walled off, and it was a mass grave of children. There was a lot of children's graves out there, actually. It was really kind of depressing a little bit. But we went over there with it, and supposedly what this obvious thing does, like I said, is pick up spirit voices. You can ask questions and get specific responses to them. There was they'd set down an object. Okay, tell me what color this is. There was a toy that I had found at another child's grave, and I brought over, and it was a little yellow Angry Birds toy or something like that. And she asked, what color is that toy? Lo and behold, the word yellow came through that thing. She asked other questions, like how many people are wearing blue shirts? 5 came back. We counted. There was like 5 people wearing blue shirts. Now, like I said, I'm a skeptic. I don't know if this stuff's real or not, but that stuff really kind of makes you wonder a little bit. They also said that there's a male adult spirit there that tries to keep the children protected, if you will, from adults who are trying to ask questions and such. And there was a male voice that kept coming through saying no to questions and such. And one of the people actually asked the question, do you want all the adults to leave? And yes came through that thing. So we were like, okay, we're out. So there was a group, there was probably about 5 or 6 teenagers were with us. They stayed there with that, and we went about our business on our own. Anyways, that goes back to later on when we went to the church. We were using that device, and I was using my phone. There was another woman that had a different app on her phone, and we started talking, trying to find out if there's somebody there or not. And the name Edna came through this Ovilus thing, and there was a woman using dowsing rods. I don't know if you know what those are or not. Back in the day, people would take two sticks or two metal rods, and supposedly you could walk around and these things stick out straight. And whenever you'd find water underground, they'll cross. Well, supposedly you can do the same thing with communicating with spirits. Straight out like this is either waiting for an answer, or it's no, and whenever they cross, it's yes. So someone was using that as well. Well, during this series of questions, the name Edna came through this Ovilus thing, and we started asking different questions, and the dowsing rods were crossing. There was things that I was getting on my phone. This other woman was getting things on her phone that seemed to tie into these questions. And the question was asked as we were very close to the miner's house, if Edna knew the owner of that house, and she said yes. And about that time, my phone says Isaiah. So we asked, is Isaiah the owner of that house? Dowsing rods cross, yes. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that happened like that I just, on the one hand, there's some of it that's just I can dismiss out of hand. But there's some of this other stuff that I just don't know, honestly. Anyways, we went over to the house after a while, and there was questions being asked there. I ended up getting the words hung and murder on my phone. Now, I don't know if there was any kind of murder or anything like that took place there. They asked questions and never really got a positive response in any way. But overall, it was really pretty interesting stuff. Later, we went back to the Smokestack. The other group went over to the park. And they ended up coming back later. We were staying at the Smokestack doing an Ovilus session, and there was some stuff that, it was the same sort of thing. It was like, well, it could be, it couldn't be. But when the other group came back, they had gotten some responses that I don't remember exactly what they were, but they basically tied into the murder and the hung kind of thing that we were finding out when we were over there. So overall, it was a long night. Really interesting stuff. And I'm really glad I went. And I suppose the ultimate question is, am I a true believer? No, I'm still a skeptic. I still think there's too many things that I can explain rationally or logically or however. But there are some things that, like I said, I just don't know. I can't explain how, if it was just random things that were coming through my phone and this other person's phone and this Ovilus device, and we were just going, oh, well, because we are doing this, then that has to tie into that. That's possible. I don't really know, but I'm open to the possibility. Anyways, will I do it again? Yeah, I'll do it again. Next time I'd kind of like to do something indoors. All this stuff was outdoors, and supposedly whenever you're inside somewhere, I guess, everything's contained, I guess you want to say. I don't know exactly. But anyways, at some point in time, I'll do another investigation, and I don't know what or when or where. But whenever I do, I'll let y'all know and see if I've changed my mind about anything. At any rate, that wraps up my big ghost hunting adventure, and I hope y'all found it at least a little bit interesting. Like I said, it's not filmmaking, but it does tie into our film because it is a ghost story. Anyways, if you want to, you can contact us usual ways. Email is realorphanmovie@gmail.com. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, The Orphan Movie. And of course, on our webpage now, on the contacts page, you can sign up for pointless emails from us. And that's on the contacts page once again. It's still a little wonky. I mean, it comes up with a weird color when you start typing in the information, but don't worry about that. Just go ahead and put it in. I promise we're not going to sell the information to anybody. We're not going to use it for nefarious purposes or anything like that. We're just going to annoy you with it, probably. Maybe not. Anyways, join us next time right here on The Orphan Movie and our Orphan Movie vlog.